Okay, so I'm going to show you the tool I've been working on. So in AutoCAD, right, when we're drawing our 2D drawings for a project, typically we'll have, our plan views, got some elevations. You can see here all these details are keyed in. And you got a whole, spread of details down here. So essentially what I want to do is bring all these details into my Revit project and reference my Revit families with these details so that I can do the shop drawings within Revit. So what I'm going to do is essentially I have a layer called test, and what I've done is I've drawn these rectangles around individual details, and then I've put a text file in there, so HOC, IHC, SRPOC. So those are going to be the alias names in my Revit project. And essentially what my code's going to do is it's going to go through, it's going to find all these rectangles, and then it's going to find whatever's inside of this rectangle, and it's going to output it as a separate file, and it's going to delete the rectangle and the text, and then it's going to rename the file whatever the text is. So if I come here and I run boys, oh, load it in, load here, load it in, always load, close, the boys command. Now it's going to ask me where I want to stick these files, so I'm going to stick in this folder here. Now what it's doing is it's running through the entire model space, identifying all of that, all those rectangles on that layer, and then outputting all these as separate files into a folder. So now if we check out that folder, you can see, like for this detail here, HOC, right? It's outputted a separate DWG file. So if I open that up, I can see just whatever was in that rectangle, and it's removed the rectangle and the text, and it's saved as the right name. So now, let's say something changed, and this can happen quite often. So let's say they took this cap out, they took that out, and just remove the glass. So if you run boys again, you can go ahead and click the same folder, and what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and identify whether or not you have a file named the same name as whatever's in that rectangle, and that's going to overwrite all those files with whatever changes you've made here. So if you update any of your details, you just have to run it one more time, and then when you come in here, you'll be able to see that now that cap's off, that glass is off, so the details change. So I'm going to go ahead and just undo what I did, run it one last time. Okay. And now I'm just going to get the correct detail for my Revit project to load in. So it's run through all the drawings, updating all of them, and now it's all done. So now in Revit, what I have is a bunch of units, right? There's horizontals, there's heads, there's jambs, there's verticals. And all these represent the details that I was just seeing. So, the head condition is this right here. But in Revit, it's just a generic model. So it has the general profile shape, but it doesn't have any of that, imagery attached to it. So you can't really tell what exactly is happening at these conditions. So what we need to do is we need to cut sections to showcase what this condition should really look like. So that's what it looks like in Revit now. No detail, no nothing. So what I want to do is I want to load in all of those DWGs I just created. So I made this script here that goes ahead and I browse and go to that same folder. And I click run completed. So now when I look at Revit, all those drafting views have just been imported. So now all my details are in here. And you can see that my detail names should match my generic model names. So here I have HOC. At all my heads, I've called all these HOC. I think my horizontals here are called IHC, as we have here. So essentially this head correlates with this detail. So what I want to do now is place all my tags so that you know exactly what's happening at this head. So let me go ahead and get my other script up. So now this one is going to go ahead and find all the mullions in my project or my view, find the leftmost unique mullions, and then reference all those details that I've loaded in based off their matching names. So I'm going to run this, run completed. When we check back here, you can see it's dropped detail bubbles at all the correct locations. So this here, right, is a JRC. So when I look at this view name, I have a JRC. So when I click into there, JRC. So now if I go, let's say, to the west elevation, where I have another elevation, I'm going to go ahead and run it one more time. Now it's done the same thing to this elevation. So it didn't place one here because this family is the same as this family, and I'm just doing the leftmost families for simplicity's sake. And now if I go to a sheet, right, and I start placing my details, so HOC, IHC, JLC, JRC, so POC, and then my vert. And now we go back to those elevations. You can see all the numbers are correct. So it's essentially tied them back to this sheet. And now let's say something changed, right? So let's go, or for example, this hatch pattern AutoCAD didn't turn out correct when I loaded it in here, but what I need to do is just go ahead and explode that hatch pattern. So let me grab it. See right here, so I have a hatch, so I'm going to explode it. And now I just have individual lines. I'm going to save that. And now if I just want to update my Revit detail, I'm going to go ahead and manage links, CAD formats, and just for sake of doing it, I'm going to reload all of them. And you can see that hatch got updated.